What's up? It's Celso Oliveira. I'm here with Erik Holstron, and we're going to be doing a quick show talking about, first off, the game this weekend against Dallas, MLS matchup coming up before the big game in Conca Champions on Tuesday. I'll be there on the stadium. But also, Erik has some really interesting points about USL and some of the things that's been happening on the last couple of days. So today, a quick show just to review this Dallas game. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time: separate the post-game show from the pre-game show, but also again having Erik back, which is awesome. But talking about USL and the shit here. Show. Yeah, man.
I'm on location. I'm deep in the Northwoods of Minnesota right now. So, there's not much reception up here. So we are totally relying on satellite uplink at this point.
That's right. So first off, as usual, we're going to do our little intro, and then we'll go right into it. Let's go. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. If you're here, I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you can. It really helps us out on YouTube. We're also on Twitter as usual. And we also have our audio-only feed on Spotify. Erik, thank you so much for joining. I know you're deep in the woods. And before we go into the FC Dallas game this weekend at BMO, talk to me first off. How you feeling, and what's up with USL, man? I know you have some words to say about that.
Yeah, what's up, Fluffhead? We'll give this a go. I have a feeling my that's a fair warning. The USL. Can you hear me fine, Celso?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, so I feel like we're gonna have some trouble here, but that's okay, buddy. Like, we're gonna give it a go.
We'll give it a try. We will call this if we have to. So
no.
So,
you're
anyways,
good. We've done it worse. We've done it worse in Dallas on the ground. So again,
true.
Erik is in Minnesota. He's on Starlink, and he's joining us to talk a little bit about this weekend's game. But first, he's got some words about USL and all the noise, I guess, it's been happening with our second division league this week, man. Go ahead.
Let's do it. Let's do a little update on this. So this came about a week ago that the players union voted to authorize a strike. And when a union votes to authorize a strike, it doesn't mean they're going to strike right now, but it basically is a warning shot to their employer, in this case, the USL, saying, hey, we don't like the way this is. And as it stands right now, we are going to go on strike unless you can negotiate with us in this case, a week, to fix our issues and make us happy enough to go out there and play. Some of it was on the really low salary. Some of it was severance. There's 2 USL teams that went under before the season started. So there's some job security issues for players. I believe they want a minimum wage of $40,000 a year. I think that is one of the terms that was given. There's issues with healthcare, all kinds of other stuff, typical employer things. So they voted to strike. The negotiations have been behind closed doors, but it's safe to assume at this point that they didn't go anywhere because the opening day is tomorrow. The first game, the Riverhounds are at 7:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, Eastern man. This stuff's coming through, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to remind everyone here, and thank you so much for joining if you're here, that Erik was before everything was said and done, Erik was traveling to Las Vegas to watch the Las Vegas Lights under Steve Cherundolo at some point. and he did that probably more often than most people. So can you talk to me about like that transition from, you sent me a text earlier in this week saying, hey, this used to be MLS's second teams and it's no longer, and now we have this big issue. So talk to me about the evolution from the time they used to go to Las Vegas Lights games that, used to feature Steve Cherundolo and a lot of LAFC players like Mamadou Fall and some of the other guys.
Yeah. This was 5-6 years ago in 2020. It was actually before I used to go there. So, and at the time, MLS was using USL as their second division academy teams. I believe it was 2022 where they announced that they were beginning MLS Next Pro, and all the MLS teams are going to do their own thing. And I immediately wrote a story, which was for public. It was for Territorial back then, although Territorial was doing English. Huh? Which is kind of now spun off into Pitch Side. So we'll probably republish this article, but it basically talked about, the franchise, the league wars between leagues. And it goes into the history of MLS, USL, NASL, which survived very briefly because, and these are all competitive leagues with each other. So I immediately saw pulling the MLS teams out as a big warning shot to USL, because all of a sudden they're pulling, at the time, 22 teams, and all the revenue that these teams are kicking into USL, they're taking that off the table. And to me, this is a way that MLS wanted to start choking out USL. It also gets into the San Diego Loyal, which was a USL team in a very large market, San Diego, quickly getting replaced by MLS, San Diego FC. Also Sacramento Republic was going to go to MLS, but then the pandemic hit and they pulled back. Otherwise, Sacramento would be an MLS team right now. There's also the Indianapolis,
which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So, like, in a sense, like,
they were approved.
MLS has kind of like, but MLS in a lot of ways have sort of thrown, like a wrench at soccer growth, right? Because in a sense, you do need these smaller franchises to grow with you in order for you to create a complete ecosystem, right? Like, but again, I'm like, this is from 7 hours ago. MLS is going forward with their season. Like they're active on social media and they're looking to have games. So how do you think this ends?
You mean USL?
Sorry, yes, my bad. USL, like, they're thinking that they're going to have games. So how do you think this ends? And how do you think this impacts the overall aspect of soccer in this country?
Well, quick, I want to finish before I get there, and I will get to that point. But, going back when the NISA formed, MLS and USL combined to sue them in court because they didn't have, for some of the things they want to do, and put a stop on that. That is where Detroit FC and Omaha Union came from, and they got absorbed into USL. So MLS and USL has worked together to crush other leagues starting to form. This is a very competitive environment.
100%.
We previously in the NFL, for example, there used to be the AFL and the NFL, and they ended up combining and becoming, the NFL is keeping the name, but the AFC and the NFC are the original leagues. There were two leagues that merged. It's the same thing with Major League Baseball, the American League and National League. They were separate leagues and they merged. So this is common in American sports, that leagues form and one outcompetes, and they kind of buy up what's left. So I've never looked at MLS and USL as like partners.
Basically dominated
their adversaries,
every single league of our sports.
So now coming into this contract, the players are there to strike. The league is going to be starting out. And so basically at this point now, USL released a letter to every single player with USL instructing them on how to basically go over the picket line. Union terms, they would call these scabs. how to break the picket line, including instructions on, they kind of a FAQ, frequently asked questions. Does the USL Championship plan to continue operating? Yes. Will I continue under the salary owed? No, if you choose to not render services. So they're basically saying, hey, if you don't show up to work, you don't get paid. Can I continue to work during the strike? Yes. We hope to have work available for all who wish to report. So if I lost
Jesus, man, this is so cringe.
I'll keep going. If I
Eric, don't. It's killing me.
Disciplined or discharged? No, we will not fire or take any discipline against any player for participating in a lawful strike. Does the law also protect me if I cross the picket line to come to work? Yes, if any threats of harm are made against you, family, or property, you have the right to immediately alert local law enforcement or notify the USL. Can I be blacklisted by the union for crossing a picket line? No, it's illegal for a union to black. They're basically giving them
do that.
They're telling them basically how to break this. One thing they do get in here, how do I cross it and continue to work without being fined by the union? And they basically give them directions on how to end their membership to the union. They give them step by step, how do I resign?
But Eric, between you and I, right? Like when you are a player or anyone in that situation reading this, your first reaction is this: I'm just not crossing it, right? You're staying with the players.
I'm going to be really surprised to see guys cross that picket line.
I mean, why would you? Why? First off, this was written by I'm not sure AI, but it was certainly written by someone with the league in firsthand. So you're already like, okay.
And the players voted to strike already, and
then the players voted to strike. So why would you cross the picket line for what, $36,000 a year while you make other 30,000 that you need to survive, like in some other random job? I don't think that's right.
Yeah, and then when all said and done, you got to go walk in and face to face with guys on your team with this. And that's the thing with teams. I think they really
it will kill your reputation. You're going to be always known as the guy that done that. So that's why you won't do it. That's just why you won't do it.
So I think the smart money right now is that the USL is not going to play tomorrow, or they're gonna basically use a bunch of replacements.
The replacements, dude. This is the replacement. All right, we have to move on to Dallas, but the last thing I'll say to this is that I would love to see a bunch of replacement players from like Sunday leagues come up, take over the USL. Look, it's meant to happen, right? Like American sports and history tells you that, usually consolidation happens like in other leagues just by each other. I disliked very much when USL and MLS kind of went its own way, but it happened. And honestly, it's probably for the best because MLS is faring really, really well. And USL, doesn't seem like they know what they're doing. Let's just be honest.
This is a whole rabbit hole. I keep in touch with USL. There's a lot of good USL accounts out there who can go pretty deep into this. And maybe we'll do a special episode at some time.
Man. They still cannot compete with us, brother.
I will say this. There's a lot of talk about the way that expansion money is given to the league. And there's a lot of talk about
how the league, that money comes from their league.
And there's a lot of talk about how that league distributes money to the teams or doesn't distribute money to the teams. Whereas a lot of the media money in MLS goes back out to the teams. There's a lot of talk in USL. It doesn't really go back to the teams. And so there's a lot of
that very much, Eric. I just like that very much because places like Indianapolis, Arizona, which does not have an MLS team, both places.
Phoenix is a marquee franchise down there.
But like just make it work. But like beat the leaders of your own pack. Create something that MLS has done with LAFC and Inter Miami. Guess what? With the Alpha Dogs, Indianapolis become the Alpha Dog. Arizona become, Phoenix become the Alpha Dog. Or you can't do it. Just succumb and then realize that we need one league and everybody needs to be under MLS. I know you don't like it, but this is the best format we have.
I'm fine with it.
Until you come up with something better, there's nothing you can do. What's up? Let's go to the Dallas game, but final thoughts on this.
MLS, I gotta finish this because you always make
final thoughts on this.
MLS has created the most sustainable and most successful league the United States has ever seen. So if there's a better mousetrap out there, that mousetrap will probably eventually win. The last thing I got to say about this whole USL thing, it'll be interesting to see if USL as we know it today survives this. I think there's a very good chance it doesn't, and this season doesn't even happen. I think that chance is there.
You're going full apocalypse on us, man.
I also think that we will see it in some ways. This will affect MLS. And
why would you go full apocalyptic on us? Explain that. Like, it's probably going to be worked on some sort of agreement, and they're going to go to play, man. Like, but what's up with the apocalypse scenario? Go ahead.
This is purely my speculation, but I wonder the economics of USL is so bad that they can't pay them any more than this. And the league won't.
Well, that's true.
Well, yeah. That's what I think. It's not there for them. Some of the attendance on these teams is not good. Some of them it's great, but for a lot of them it's
that's
not.
why we had two teams folding, as you mentioned. So like that
two teams folded in preseason. So this together makes me think the financial health of USL is pretty bad. When they announced promotion relegation system, at the time I said, this is a desperation move right here. I think they're teetering, and this could be what pushes them over. I think if this does happen, there's a lot of assets in there that MLS will be able to pick up for pennies on the dollar. How they integrate it, I don't know, but I'm sure they could find another 10 markets in there to put together 40 teams and start doing more with it and have it run better and more sustainably. This is just, my opinion on this looking at it, but that's how I see it.
It's his opinion show, and that's why you're here for him, my man. And I appreciate your opinion on this. No, and you're very well. You're very knowledgeable man about sports and in general soccer and how it's been sort of like coming down. You went to more Las Vegas Light games than maybe Las Vegas Light fans. So
I'm a big econ nerd also, and I've ran a business before, so I'm
right. And then you've dealt with the unions, and kind of how it is to kind of deal with these labor situations. So you have some pretty interesting insight. But we have to move on. And again, I appreciate you being here talking to us. First and foremost, it's going to be a fast show here. We have 10 more minutes. And in the next 10, we're going to be talking about the next upcoming game. So Monday we'll have a show. So we'll break this game down and talk about the upcoming game against the CCL Alajuelense, right? The Costa Rican team that will have to play. The first leg is
we got that BMO next week. We can do that. We can do that.
You won't be here.
JP might be in for hopefully great show last time, you guys.
But for today, we're going to be talking about the Dallas game on the MLS front this weekend, and
Dirty D
is kind enough to join us. So Dallas, to me, like I do a weekly ranking with pitch side now, and check us out, by the way, a very innovative website, all in English, good stories, good writing, good guys, and we're trying to help some photographers, by the way, make it right. So every photographer that you see there, if we can, we feature in our articles. But so again, with this particular thing, man, like what are your general thoughts on this issue, and like how do you think LAFC is gonna go this weekend, given that they have a game on Tuesday? Sorry, lost myself a little bit there, but like, how do you think LAFC is going to be, given that they have a game 48 hours from then, which is a much more important game? And I'm going to be honest, I'm only going to be on the Tuesday game. Go
72. I think they got 72 hours there, but still, Tuesday is a short turnaround, right?
It's very short. And again, sorry for losing myself there.
I think, one of the bright things we had is we had a full week off this week, and I think they're going to want to put some things into motion. So I would imagine we'll have a pretty much starting lineup for the first 45 at least, our best 11 out there, and we'll probably switch out at least three of them at half, and then probably the last two more by like the 70th minute, just to keep some fresh legs. The Alajuelense game is home as well, so I do think it'll be interesting to see. I think we might have a little more rotation next weekend's match than we do on this one. But I think for 45, we go with the starters.
Yeah. So I don't love Dallas this season. I don't think they're anything great. In fact, if you were to divide like into rankings, which is kind of where I lost myself, we do a ranking with pitch side every week, and Dallas is towards the bottom. And so I'm not too concerned with this game. So, but you're at home, and again, MLS is kind of an evil tournament. You kind of want to get 3 points, right? So you put your full lineup out there. So I'm with you there. I think LAFC needs like full support, full players. Anything concerns you with this game? I know you haven't talked to us in last week, but what are you concerned about given that what you've seen from this team, like against, for example, Houston on the road?
I think Dallas is not that bad of a team this year. They're 1 win, 1 draw. Their draw was against Nashville. Both games have been at home for them. So that's something they have going for them. They're still building into their season form. So I do think Petter Musa can be tricky. He's a good aerial threat. Seb Ibiaga, we should see him again. Shaq Moore at left back is pretty good as well. So they've kind of been rolling out a 4-4-2. So they're a bit of, I think, a set piece team right now, and set pieces are something that I'm not so keen on us yet. We've shown some good prowess in some attacking set pieces, although they're not your traditional, lob the ball into the box for a head. They're all kind of short ones, but we've done pretty good. So we should get through this, but I think it might be a 2-1 game or a 1-0 game even.
Whoa. That's the last thing we do. I didn't know it. But look, before we go into starting lineups and your prediction, Erik, I want to talk to you like I'm showing and I'm sharing the kind of the lineup for the game here and some of the key players. And you see that Sonny is the 5th best player at LAFC right now from a sofa score rating standpoint. There's a lot that goes into that, but I did see Happy Foot, Sad Foot talk about how Sonny's role is changing. So my question to you is are you concerned with Sonny's season so far? And anything else you want to talk about how Mark Dos Santos has been using Sonny and Denis Bouanga, by the way?
No, not really. I think Sonny's chances are going to come. And, right now we're kind of back into playing low blocks, and low blocks is not something that gives a lot of opportunities to this team, and the way one of the ways to break
we're getting better at it.
Yes, is to have midfielders who can start putting in some 25, 30-yard shots from outside the box. That's how you can break a low block, is because that's where you're going to start getting the ball, is right up there in the key. And so
right, which Delgado and Eustáquio been executing on last game. So that's been good.
But a guy like Son, if he's got to be in there with Ibiaga and Urogide, if that's how you get it, Dallas is a pretty physical team. A lot of teams that don't have a ton of the good talent, they're forced to be physical teams, and they are. So getting into those spots inside the box is going to be pretty cluttered for him. We'll see if they can get some little 1-2 give and goes and make something happen. It's totally there. But I also think Son is kind of warming up into the season. And at the end of the day, what matters is getting the 3 points. And this team has just steamrolled every game.
He's playing the 10. He's playing the 10 now, which is kind of like a big question we had, right? And he's certainly playing behind Bouanga and Martinez. It's been good for us because we haven't had that guy. But it's kind of like if you ever played FIFA and you get your best player, you just put him on the wrong position and he just loses 6 XP. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's just as good, but he's just not as good because he's playing the middle instead of there. So I feel like that's what we're doing with Sonny, by putting him in the middle. But you can't put him in the left because that's where Denis is. And Denis is not a kind of guy that's going to want to play with his foot inside. So I guess that's what it is, right? Martinez, Sonny in the middle, kind of playing this floater role, and then he on the left.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the false nine role again, isn't it?
Yeah, we're back to the false nine, buddy. Yeah, good. Yep, well put. Yep. Which is not. I don't know if it's good or bad. But again, if you have a guy like Son Heung-min in your roster, and you're trying to get the most out of that player, is that the best place for him over 2 games? I think so, because he missed 2 big shots, but he assisted 2 people, and he got 2 guys thrown out.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, I mean, you can't question his impact on the game because he made 2 guys red card themselves.
Thank you.
It doesn't show up on the stat sheet. It's not an assist. It's not a goal. If you want to see Sonny score a hat trick every game, it's not going to get you excited. But it's another 3 points to go with the 3 points before that, the 3 points before that, and the 3 points before that. This is a team that they have won every game. So
yeah, every game. Mark Dos Santos is a perfect 3 points per game as LAFC manager. A guy that
4 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties.
And what's interesting, Eric, is so far in his career as a manager, he's got more losses than wins. If he wins 2 games with LAFC, he will overturn that. So I think as a manager, it's a big moment for him. He's been everything. What do you think so far of Mark? It's not something we talk too much about. And are you MDS in?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always been give MDS a chance. Even more so, I think, than when Shrundalo was announced. Even though he came from in-house and he came up,
yeah, that looked like he should have been inverted, but whatever.
Yeah, but I've always been. I don't necessarily want to say I was MDS in, but I think he deserved it. He deserved a fair chance.
Were you MDS in?
He deserved a fair chance, and I was never MDS out, and that's one thing for sure. And I think that the 3-0 against Miami was a pretty signature win so far. And I mean, what more can you ask for out of a manager than to win every single game you play? So, like Pookie says, the Pookie Gomez rule: give it 10 games before you really draw any good conclusions. But
thank you.
At this point, he's going to probably. It's safe to say he'll be at least a 500 manager by the time we get to those 10 games.
Well, he's a 500 manager now, so he should be better.
He's got to win one more game out of those 10, then he'll have 5 wins if he loses the rest. But
100%,
anyway.
bro. So let's talk about starting lineup. So again, we have a game on Tuesday, which I will be covering, and I would like to think LAFC is going to bring out the house in that game. So we might see some rotation here, but so I would like to see your lineup, and I expect some rotation. Don't give me the starting 11 because I don't think that's going to be it.
Celso, it's a good thing.
Come on. There's a game. There's a game next at home. You have to do it.
The first half is going to be Eddie Segura, Ryan Porteous.
Right, start with the goalkeeper. Hugo Lloris.
Hugo Lloris. Right? It's going to be Hugo Lloris. He's playing this game. He's playing right in front of the beloved 3252.
Right back.
And then, right back, Sergi Palencia. Center back, Nico Tafari. Center back, Ryan Porteous. Left back, Eddie Segura. Steady
Eddie, left back.
Back at left back.
Oh my God, I can play every position on the field. Fuck you all. I thought I was going to be back. Segura. That's his name. Oh my God, that guy is an inspiration for anyone.
Midfield, we are going to go with Delgado, Tillman,
Delgado. Thank you,
and Eustachio. Baudry will be a sub in at the second half. To start the second half, Baudry will get subbed in.
Eustachio, Marquis, and
Tillman.
Who's your third midfielder?
Timmy
Tillman. Which, by the way, if you watched our last show, what do you think of the fact that he's playing inverted? He's playing on the other side of the field now. You notice that?
Yeah. He also pushes centrally a lot. when those three in the midfield, like Tillman tends to be centrally and pushing forward with Delgado and Eustachio as more double pivots.
Right. Well, it's a lot of double pivots, but he's still on the other side of the field. Look at his heat maps. And you see he's basically at completely the other side. It's a big change. All right. Up front, you got Denis.
I got Denis. I got Sonny. And I got Martinez.
So you're starting three, and I agree with you.
Yep. And I think at halftime, Baudry is going to come in, and then Chonier is going to come in, and also they're going to put in the right back.
Nathan Gray? Smoliakov?
No, I don't know what's up with him. Oh, well, I can't remember. Our right back. The other Canadian.
Oh, Raposo.
Thank you.
Raposo.
I'm sorry, Ryan Raposo.
Just first off,
your name.
No
disrespect.
It has to be said. There is a massive Canadian influence in our roster right now. Mark Dos Santos is completely biased towards Canadian.
We are the Los Angeles Maple Leafs right now.
Oh my fucking God. That shit is sweet like maple, but we're dealing with it. But the other thing I would say, it's working, so I can't say shit about it.
So I'm just adding that in. That's going to be the halftime substitutions. Is those three are going to come in, and then
I'm very different from you.
And then later on, Denny and because I think Baudry they're going to put in with those front three because I think they still want to kind of see how that clicks. And then probably 65th, 70th minute they'll eventually pull Bouanga and Son for and then they'll put in Ordaz and
That's so wrong.
Yeah,
so wrong. You're so wrong, buddy.
So
I'm just kidding. Okay, so here's mine. All right, I think we go a little bit different, and it's like a mindset, right? It's not that wrong, but you're thinking one way, I'm thinking the other. The way I'm thinking is we have to first off feature some guys at home in front of our crowd where it's easier to win. So we're gonna actually take a couple chances, and we're gonna start Boudry first off because he's kind of a force there, and it will allow someone to sit and rest in our midfield. And also maybe a Smoliakov, kind of like throw a wrench in there just to think that they're not forgotten. So for the weekend game, I would still start Lloris, of course. On the right side, Sergio Palencia. On the left side, I would start Smoliakov because he's a de facto left back, and we need him. In the middle, maybe keep Segura in there and then see who is better at this point. Maybe Porteous, but I don't care who else would start. In the midfield, I love Chonier. Chonier should start. He's a guy that needs minutes. He needs to show his country that he can be a starter, and he's in a position where there's just too many guys. So I would actually start Chonier, maybe sit one of the 2 6s or 8s, however you want to see them. It's hard to see Tim Tillman out of this game, but maybe he's the kind of guy that would come off the bench, right, where Chonier would come in, or Eustachio would sit. But Eustachio's on a loan, as I said on the last show, Eric. Like, I feel like any minute we can get from this guy, we need to get. So, like, it's like that. You get the rental. It's a Ferrari. We're gonna take it for a spin, baby. We're going to actually do everything we want with this. We're not going to let loose on you, baby. And then up front, I think Nate the Great does deserve a start, right? Because if you didn't watch the last show and maybe the whole thing, but one of the things that I said is that Nate the Great is losing space. He's losing space in this roster, and he shouldn't be. But it's not his fault necessarily, right? So, I think this is the perfect game to kind of like reestablish some of the packing order, allow Nate the Great to get some quality minutes, maybe get us in the on the board. But I would still start Sonny, and I would start Denis. Every game, no matter who you rotate, you start Eustachio, you start Sonny, and you start Denis. And that's my starting 11. And that's it.
All right. I like it.
Let's get our predictions of this game. Again, I feel like LAFC's got the momentum, but Mark Diaz, man, he's about to be 5-0. Do you think he can do it? What are your predictions for this game?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Dallas kept Nashville off the board. Nashville's got a pretty good attack this year with Espinoza and Mukhtar and the English fella. So,
the toe man. We're not going to say that. Sam Surridge.
Sure.
He's me. It took me a minute.
Sam Surridge. That's the one. So, that was a 0-0 draw at home. Yeah, Nashville got a red card around like the 76th minute, but nonetheless, it was a 0-0 at the end of the day. So I think Musa could get lucky and put one in on us, but I think we can put 2 on them. So I'm going to stick with my 2-1, and it might be a little lower scoring. Like I said, I could see a 1-0 out of this too.
Yeah. I like you because like sometimes you drop like, little gambling tidbits. You going under? Are we going under?
The Miami game, I had a big score line and the over, but we missed 2 sitters on that game. Otherwise, there should have been 5 at the gap because that was a 3.5 and it ended up being under. And I was sure
you think it's gonna be tight. You think Dallas is gonna be tight? They play.
I think it's gonna be a low scoring game.
You and I were in.
I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, but we're gonna win.
All right. I like that. So 2-1, the classic 2-1, the most common score in soccer, if you're a bettor, is a 2-1. Eric's taking it. I like it. All right. I haven't thought about this game yet from an outcome standpoint, but I think LAFC is very hot. I just did my rankings again for pitch side, which is kind of where I lost myself there. And I had Dallas kind of like towards the bottom. I don't really think they're that great. They're missing a DP or 2. They're missing their Griezmann. Shout out to Gus Lopez. They're missing their Griezmann. They don't really have anybody, and Peter Musa is okay. So I'm with you, Eric. I'm going to add another goal, and I'm going to say 3-0 actually. Another Smash City win by LAFC. 3-0. Why? I don't really like Dallas. I don't think they can score. I think we can score one really quick, and Nate the Great suddenly say, guess what? I'm here, and I'm going to prove that I should be starting, not Martinez, bitches. And we get a 2-0 win really quick. And then Jeremy Ebobisse surfacing from wherever he is. I don't know where he's been, by the way. I've been practicing your name.
Injured. He's been injured.
But he's going to be back. He's going to score the 3rd goal. If not him, Jude Terry will come in and score his first goal ever for LAFC. And we'll have like a 5-minute segment about that. Man, I want nothing else than Jude Terry to score a goal for LAFC. But that's for money. I know you're not going to be here, so we might have either JP or LAFC Uruguay Gaston come with us. Take your time coming back. I know you're busy, mate. But before we get out of here, what else you want to say?
Yeah, well, I'll miss this one because I'll be traveling, and I'll actually miss the Monday show after that as well because I'm traveling. But I will be traveling to the Austin game the weekend after, so I'll be on the ground for that game. Otherwise, please give us hit that like button, subscribe, and you can follow Celso Oliveira or myself, Erik Holstrom, on X. And here are great and sometimes horrible takes.
No, it's mostly horrible takes, but we're here for it, and we're consistent. And in this industry, if you're consistent, you have something to say, and you can argue your way into it. It's okay, and that's what we're trying to do here. We love LAFC. Erik and I have grown into great friends through it, and that's the whole point. That we're here talking about the team that we love. We have a little bit more insight. The club gives me a little bit more access. Not going to be at the game once again this weekend, but I plan to be there for the big Conca Champions Tuesday game, which I'm excited about. I love Continental games. They're midweek games. They fuck you up on Wednesday, whether you win or lose. Like, I remember being a kid going to school, like fucking heartbroken because my team just lost to Libertadores. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go like study math. São Paulo just lost. So it's just something else. And, you know, again, I hope that Conca Champions spirit comes through us. We crush Alajuelense, because after that, we got two Liga MX teams in front of us, I believe, which would be a really, really good tournament, Eric. So appreciate being here, man. Last parting words are yours before I hit that button.
No
parting words.
Not too much else to say. Have fun at the game, everybody, and I'll be watching it with a beer in my hand and probably a couple shots of rum.
Bam! Drink that rum, Eric. I'm glad that you're drinking nowadays because it makes life a little bit easier. Shout out to everybody that joined and everybody that actually just got to watch it.
Thanks for coming, David Fluffhead, man. You didn't even announce the show.
We'll see you Monday, guys. No. This is just for fun. And again, we hope to do it twice a week once we get into a rhythm. But anytime we have an opportunity to chat, we're going to be here for you guys. Cheers.